You ever had a stranger tell you to erase your whole life in 10 days? Yeah, that happened. I was mid-weld, sun beating down, sparks flying. When she strutted up, heels echoing like some kind of warning. Didn't even look me in the eye, just slapped a stack of paper on my workbench and said, "You have 10 days to wipe this ranch clean off the map." No greeting, no small talk, just an order. I nearly laughed, like a few lines on a page could push me off the land my grandfather left me, before this road even had a name. But right then, I decided if they wanted a fight, they were going to get one they'd never forget. The woman was Lynette Carrion, chairwoman of the Meadowbrook Heights HOA, dressed in a faded purple getup, with fur collar half matted, half missing, chunky heels with cracks, and makeup you could spot from the back 40. Like she wanted everyone to know she was somebody, even if she was the only one who still believed it. She tapped her heel, scaring my old mare off the fence, and declared my ranch a menace to community standards. You know what I mean? The way she said it, you'd think I was running a toxic dump instead of a cattle ranch. I just wiped my hands slow, told her I'd been here since before the beautiful homes she pointed at had even broken ground. 3 generations, actually. She didn't care. Waved it off, said, "Times change, Mr. Holt. You don't fit the vision." Then she laid it out. 10 days to get rid of my livestock, tear down the barns, and basically erase any trace of my family's history or face legal action. She slammed the notice on my table so hard my coffee mug jumped. Scanning the complaints, I had to stifle a grin. Excessive noise from cattle, unpleasant odors, trucks damaging the road, buildings unfit for the neighborhood aesthetic. It was laughable, except she wasn't joking. And if I didn't comply? There are consequences for people who don't cooperate with community improvement, she said with a smirk. That's when I spotted a black pickup parked across the street. Big guy in work clothes, but not a working man. Boots too clean, gaze too sharp. He nodded at Lynette as she left, like I'd just made his list point 1 week later. The community center's harsh lights made everyone look guilty. Lynette, in full command, fired up a PowerPoint, protecting our investment. Every slide a zoomed-in photo of my ranch, edited to make the ordinary look disastrous. Dust during morning feedings, a manure pile from the one angle it looked huge, water troughs she claimed were environmental hazards. She had captions, livestock creating odor violations, structures affecting aesthetics, commercial vehicles damaging roads. It was theater, pure and simple, but then came the twist. Colleen Rodas, never met her before, stood up with her own folder, marched right up front, and dumped out emails Lynette had sent to 7 families in the neighborhood. She started reading. "Mrs. Patterson, your rose bushes are 6 inches over the setback line. $50 a day fine. Mr. Chun, your mailbox post is weathered. Replace in 1 week. The Williams kids' bikes in the driveway. Final warning." The room went dead silent, then buzzed. Folks snapped pics, shot videos. Lynette lost her cool, glancing at the man in the back for help, but he stayed quiet. Colleen said what everyone was thinking. This wasn't about standards, it was harassment. Only the families who'd ever questioned Lynette's authority got notices. Lynette tried to salvage it, mumbling about fair enforcement, but it was too late. People started looking at her differently. When the meeting ended, neighbors shook my hand, offered help. Mrs. Patterson even said, "If you need anything, just ask." Some of us remember when being a neighbor meant something. As I headed to my truck, Lynette was in the lot, angry, scared, arguing on her phone. Something had shifted that didn't take long for things to get ugly. 3 days later, I found foam and a chemical smell in my cattle's water trough. They wouldn't touch it. Tracked the pipe, found a drilled hole with a funnel, footprints that weren't mine, chemical stains. I knew this wasn't bad luck. It was sabotage, plain and simple. The idea was obvious. Poison the water, blame the ranch, bring in the county, force a sale. My buddy Miles came over, handy with wiring and no stranger to trouble. And we set up motion-activated cameras all around the property. Caught him that very night. 3 men in hoodies, including the guy from the meeting, pouring chemicals into my water line. Next morning, The county called about a complaint of contamination. When the inspector arrived, I showed her the footage. "This is sabotage," she said. "They'll be facing felony charges if we can ID them." By the time she left, my video was online, already racking up views. Lynette called, voice like ice. "You think you're clever? You just made this personal. You have no idea what you're up against." Then hung up. But her threat told me everything. I needed to get ahead of this, so I hired a private investigator. Rebecca Torres, sharp as a tack, followed the money. Turned out the HOA was broke, embezzlement, fake repairs, 5 years of unpaid taxes. The secretary, Edith Morse, had funneled 40 grand into her own debts, and the HOA owed nearly $200,000 in back taxes. But the real story was Victor Langston, the silent man in the boots. He'd been buying up properties for a resort development. My ranch was the keystone. Victor showed up himself, all silk tie and smooth talk, offered me $350,000 for the land, half of what it was worth, under threat of endless lawsuits and fines. For about 10 minutes, I thought about it. Life in the mountains, no neighbors, no headaches. But then I heard Miles' voice in my head. "This land is our memory. Don't let them erase it." And I realized this was bigger than me. It was about whether people like Victor could use money and rules to bully folks off their own land. That I called the county tax office, found out I could pay off the HOA's tax debt and get a lien. Maybe even force an auction of their common property if they couldn't pay. Took my savings, plus a loan, and covered their debt. Notified every homeowner that their HOA now owed me, not the county. Lynette blew up my phone. "You can't do this. That's not how it works." But it was. Now I could force a sale if they didn't repay. With their finances exposed, the truth came out. Edith fled, warrants followed her, and the HOA lawyer tried to negotiate. I said I'd consider it. If Lynette resigned, Edith paid back what she stole, and Victor removed himself from all HOA business. They couldn't pay anyway. I pushed for public auction. My lawyer loved it. Never seen a homeowner end up with the HOA's assets before, but the law was the law. On auction day, the courthouse was packed. Reporters, neighbors, investors. Lynette, looking lost, sat with her lawyer. Colleen, leading a residents' coalition, put in a bid. Victor's developer pal tried, but the neighbors outbid him. When the dust settled, the residents owned the community spaces. Lynette resigned. Victor faced charges for environmental crimes, and Edith was picked up in another state for fraud. HOA politics got turned on its head. Now, instead of HOA crackdowns, my ranch became part of the neighborhood's character. Kids came to feed cattle. Neighbors voted to put "a community that values its rural heritage" on the entrance sign. Miles got elected to the new HOA board, and I applied for a state grant to preserve the land for future generations. The new leadership cut out the nonsense. Roses could grow, bikes could stay in driveways. People remembered how to be neighbors. A national reporter covered the story, and suddenly people from all over were emailing, saying they felt powerless too, until they heard what we'd done. Victor got 2 years community service. Edith went to jail. Lynette moved away. But for me, nothing really changed. I still get up before dawn, still mend fences, still work the land my granddad left me. But now, instead of fighting to prove my worth, I'm part of something bigger, a community that fought for itself. And let me ask you, what would you do if the people with the power tried to erase your story? Would you sell out, or would you fight for what matters? Share your own battle stories or ideas for how communities can keep their soul. Because sometimes the best way to beat a bully is to stand your ground until the world takes notice.